Hey guys, and welcome to another video on this streamy channel. Now, as you can tell, my microphone audio has probably got a lot better since last time, so now the editing time should actually be worth it. Now, in today's video, it's going to be all the Super Mario Odyssey Kingdoms ranked. So without further ado, let's go. Now, to begin with, the worst kingdom in Mario Odyssey is the Cap Kingdom. Although it's not a bad kingdom, it's not got much extra to offer. It's got hardly any moons, and almost all of them are very simple and easy to find. Now, I know this is the first world of the game, so it can't be too hard for those beginners, but that doesn't make the world any better. It's quite a good looking kingdom, and a good starter kingdom, to be honest. But only a starter, not for players that have completed the dark side, got all the moons, and then have to come back to a much simpler Cap Kingdom. It's just not a great experience for those hard ones. Now, this does show off the captures in a good fashion, starting with the frog. It shows what it's capable of, but just the frog doesn't save it from being the worst kingdom in the game. Now, although I love the final level of the game, and it took me a lot of attempts to beat, it was really quite challenging, that's not enough to push the darker side further down on the list. That's just because it has the least amount of moons, and doesn't have anything to offer other than this level. I think they should have probably added at least a couple extra bits once you've completed the dark side, but no, they didn't give that. There's not really much else to say about this kingdom, and that's the main reason it's quite high on the list. So, I think I should probably just move on to the next one. Next kingdom is the Ruined Kingdom. Now this kingdom is similar to the dark side to begin with only one level, but it being pretty cool. But when you have completed the story of the game, there are some more interesting moves added to the kingdom. Now, the main theme of this kingdom is being ruined. You can really tell that due to its looks and how the island is all cracked and, well, lonely. Now, this cracked and lonely island is home to one of my favourite bosses in the entire game. It just doesn't really feel like a Mario boss. I think this is why it's a Peggy 7 rated game instead of a Peggy 3. Yeah, I see you, Nintendo, up in those Peggy ratings. Soon it'll be Peggy 18 Mario. Yeah, coming soon. Now, these additional moons are quite different. They're very unique. So, I think this probably deserves to be a bit higher, but not enough for me. Now, this is the last of the kingdoms that aren't really full kingdoms. Now, I find it quite cool that we can get a Bowser fight about halfway through the game to prepare for the big final boss. Some of those unique Bowser fights for a while. The fact that we get and steal his own hat to attack back at him is such a great idea in my opinion. Once you've completed this battle and the game, there will be some new moons that are added that aren't exactly hard to collect, but cause you to think. So I think this kingdom is the best out of the non-proper ones. So that's why it takes this position on the list. What I would consider full kingdoms, I really don't like the Snow Kingdom. I do normally like snow worlds in other Mario games, but this one just doesn't really feel right. I really dread when I have to come back to this kingdom to get more moons. This world is very small compared to the others in the game. The main positive of this world is the race. I do really enjoy this type of racing, and it is quite challenging. I only really reach first when it reaches the final lap. I think they could have improved the rest of the levels down in this section though, so that's why it takes this position on the list. Now, next up is the Lake Kingdom. Now finally we have a really good water level in a Mario game. Being able to use the cheap jeeps helps improve this water level. Now, even for a water level, it is very unique. It also has one of the coolest skips, but I still can't do it. Zip sections are quite imaginative. The fact that you can actually possess a zip, well, I wasn't expecting that. I feel like this world might be viewed in completely different ways. This could be some people's favourites, but it didn't feel as mind-blowing as some of the others. Fair enough, the dome section, which has some weird magic protection thing, which stops the water coming in. It's quite interesting, but that's only because there's no water. So, just because it has water this is why it's down here. Now next up is the Luncheon Kingdom. I do actually like this kingdom. I was close to putting this higher up on the list. This kingdom introduces the new possessable enemy, the fire thing. I don't know what it's called. Even if this kingdom didn't have a name, you can still tell how it's food related, which is actually a positive thing, showing its attention to detail is on point. There are so many really unique moons in this kingdom. Like, who would think putting a golden vegetable in some soup would give you a power moon? Like, how cool is that? When you reach the top of the mountain, you get such a cool view of, well, the lava. And it feels quite proud of yourself. It's like you've reached the flagpole in a 2D Mario, but in a 3D one. It's quite unique. So that's why it takes this position on the list. Now next on my list is the Lost Kingdom. Now, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't very happy when I realised I was trolled. Thinking I was going to go to the Metro Kingdom, but then I ended up down here. Quite triggered if I'm being honest. But then I realised this kingdom is actually pretty cool. I love the new creature that this kingdom introduces. These funky looking wiggly type things. It really helps finding some secret locations in the game. You can also find Glider on the top of the mountain, who is also one of my favourite characters, which really helps you explore and get those last few needed moons. The only negatives to this kingdom are the lack of moons and size, but other than that, this really is quite an underrated great kingdom. Now next up is the Dark Side. I think this is another of the kingdoms that I wouldn't consider full kingdoms, so I guess it's done quite well to get all the way down here on the list. But it's home to some really challenging and infuriating moons. But worst of all, you have to fight all the bosses in a row with no damage. Well, actually, let me correct myself. You get 1 extra heart before the final boss. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you a lot. Which is, by the way, every single boss on some sort of machine. I don't know what it's called. Now, this boss isn't that hard. At the beginning is, trust me. Losing 1 hit point will cause panic, as you know that losing another will make it almost impossible to beat the rest of them. This one caused me a lot of anger, but it was worth it in the end. Sort of. Now I know, definitely, this will be a very controversial one, as this is one of the highlights of the entire game for some people. Let me just put my main point out there. This kingdom is just way too big. So much that it just makes it annoying going back and forth over the kingdom, collecting your last moons. Now I do still quite like bits about this. I really like the section where the Joy-Cons shake, as I didn't even realise I could do that before getting to this bit. As this kingdom is fairly early on, capturing a bullet bill was so cool. I like that you actually have to use these to gain a few power moons in the kingdom as well. There are a couple hidden secrets in this kingdom, although they're quite cool. They're not enough to pull this kingdom down the list. Now next is the Seaside Kingdom. I do really like this kingdom. Just seeing the incredible weather makes you want to get into your car right now and go live in the beach. Now this kingdom introduces you to probably my favourite capture of the entire game, but I still don't know what it's called. Well, these things, wherever they are, allow you to get to wherever you want at super speed. Now I just wish they'd added these to some of the other kingdoms, like Sand or any other huge kingdoms. Then it would be so much more effective. Whereas here, the kingdom is so small, it's almost pointless to even have them. If they'd made this kingdom the same size as some other kingdoms, this would at least make it into my top 3. And also, there was sort of a link to Sunshine. Again, another spoiler that Sunshine 2 come to the Switch this year. Thank you very much. Now next up is the Moon Kingdom. Now I really am quite a big fan of this kingdom. It's a very imaginative idea. The gravity, or shall I say, the lack of gravity. This is home to some really cool moons. But best of all, the Bowser section. Not just the fight, because yes, that's right, he's not always bad. In fact, you can even possess him. I know it does sound quite weird, but bear with me. It's actually really cool. And the final part where all those parts are falling are super exciting. And when you reach the center, you are welcome to the best ending scene of a Mario game ever. But don't worry, Mario and Peach are still together. Now third on the list is the Wooded Kingdom. Now this is the only kingdom in the game that I haven't actually fully completed. That doesn't mean I don't absolutely love it. This kingdom is one of the hardest in the game, due to its large size. But unlike the Sand Kingdom, every part of it is packed full of action, and often moons, as this kingdom is home to a very large amount of moons. Now when you first play this kingdom, you reach a very special surprise. Oh no, you've died. Wait, what? Where am I? What? That's... Oh wait, yes! It's another T-Rex session. Wait, what? Why can I not... Help! Help please! Now second on my list is the first proper kingdom of the game, not including the cat one. The Cascade Kingdom. This kingdom introduces the game perfectly, with the new capture mechanic. At first you're a chain jump, and you're like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. And then you meet the T-Rex, and you're like, oh my gosh, this game is insane. It also shows off the 2D sections in the game, which I'm actually quite a big fan of, by the way. I think Nintendo did an excellent job showing off what their game is capable of here, and that's why it's so high, or so low down on my list. Now I'm pretty sure you could have guessed this before I even started the video. My favourite kingdom in the game is the Metro Kingdom. It's the most fun I've had in a Mario game for a while. Firstly, you want to do some skipping, and you think, geez, this is pretty cool, more than I thought. And then you find a motorbike, and you're like, geez, this is getting insane. I wonder what else I can do. And then you find out you can bounce off taxis. And then next thing you know, you're driving a toy car. Didn't expect that one, especially just by possessing a human. Wow. And then you're playing Mario Kart in Odyssey. 2 games in 1. Bargain. And then meeting Pauline for the first time in about 20 years. It's quite a cool throwback. And then, without even talking to her, she just throws a party for you. A whole festival, and everyone's invited. Now surely, you can't disagree with me that this is the best kingdom in the game by quite some distance. Now I know that this list didn't include the Mushroom Kingdom. I just wanted to focus on the kingdoms that are on the way to completing the game. But if I had included it, it'd be right down the bottom. If you guys enjoyed this, please subscribe, as it means so much. Let me know if you agree or not, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.